So the Premier League starts tomorrow, but today you get the very first episode of FPL Today. Coming up next. What's up guys, and welcome to JNO United, bringing you the best in football news, entertainment and games. And today we do the first episode of FPL Today, which will be my series throughout the Premier League season on FPL. Now I hope to also bring an episode every week of just a Premier League show away from Fantasy Premier League, just general news, my thoughts on games, so on and so forth. But today we're going to do FPL Today. Now if you're new around here and you're only just finding out about 30 days of FPL, make sure to subscribe. Join the 750 plus new subscribers in subscribing to the channel, and let's get on with the show. Now the first thing we're going to do with every FPL Today is go over the side I believe I'm going to go into the game week coming up with. Now first game week coming up is game week 1, so we don't have any previous scores to go by. We don't have any game week to review. So this is the side I'm going into game week 1 with, or at least I believe I'm going to go into with. Knowing my luck, I'll be changing it on Saturday morning. By the way, I'm live streaming Saturday morning, so make sure you're available around 10 o'clock Saturday morning if you want to see my actual team by deadline. So the team I'm going with is Foster in goal. That's Ben Foster with Jakupovic as my backup. Jakupovic will hopefully never see the light of day in my side. I'm relying on Ben Foster for the first 3 game weeks. I just feel like he's a good option with those first 3 games, and I don't need to worry about spending a lot of money on goalkeepers, and then I'll wildcard after game week 3. Then in defence we have Azpilicueta, Luke Shaw, Eric Barley, Gareth McCauley and Paredes. Now Paredes again I don't think is going to see the light of day. I'm hoping West Brom can get some clean sheets, which is why McCauley's in there. And then I have some heavy hitters with Luke Shaw, Eric Barley and Azpilicueta. I may be hedging my bets here a bit with 2 West Brom and 2 Man United players in my defensive setup, but I believe there's clean sheets there and I believe they're good options who could get me points. But I will probably change that before pre-season starts, just because it just doesn't feel right having so much of my defence consisting of 2 teams. In midfield we have Eden Hazard as my big hitter, joined by the likes of Eric Lamela, Nathan Redmond, newly signed to West Ham Andre Ayew and Etienne Capoe. Now I just feel like this season Eden Hazard is going to return to the Eden Hazard of old. Eric Lamela has been very promising in pre-season. Nathan Redmond has been playing up front in part of Southampton's pre-season and comes in at a very good price. Andre Ayew to me could be the answer to the West Ham midfield problem. If you're not got the money to put Payet in because you're putting in the likes of Hazard or De Bruyne or someone like that, then I believe Ayew, seeing as he has an understanding with Payet from their time in Marseille and the fact that he's in a very attacking midfielder as well, I believe he could be a very good solution to getting a West Ham midfielder at a cheaper price. I also believe that when Andy Carroll isn't on the pitch, Ayew is probably going to be the guy up front, and so I think he could benefit from a good season with the likes of Payet, Toure and Feghouli, as well as Lanzini behind him. And then Etienne Capoue, I believe he is going to have a good season purely because it seems like the new manager at Watford is giving him more licence to roam forward, and he's a cheap player. And then you've probably noticed that I've not followed the general team structure, and that is purely because I'm worried that if I have Aguero and not Ibrahimovic, or the other way round, I'm going to get stung. So I've got Aguero and Ibra at this moment in time, but I'm also looking at Harry Kane. I kind of feel like people are underestimating Tottenham, especially with the games they have at the start of the season. I feel like Harry Kane could have a good start to the season and everyone's too busy looking at Aguero and Ibra. But right now I have Aguero and Ibrahimovic, joined by Andre Gray, purely because he scored 9 goals in pre-season. I think that just speaks for itself. Andy Carroll and Shane Long are in contention for that spot, but as I've got Redmond and Ayew, I went with Andre Gray as my cheap striker. Let me know what you think of that team in the comments down below, and now let's look at the fixtures for game week 1. Game week 1 starts with Hull versus Leicester, and Hull have a massive injury issue right now at the club whereas Leicester are coming off a defeat to Manchester United in the Community Shield, but I do believe Leicester City should win this game comfortably and have a good start to the season, remind everyone why they are the champions. I think Jamie Vardy looked pretty sharp with the way he picked up on that Fellaini mistake in the Community Shield. Mahrez has looked good. I believe Musa could have a big impact if he's used correctly, which I think Ranieri is going to do. So I think Leicester players might be a necessity at the beginning of this season, because they have, I think, 2 easy fixtures in the first 3 games, which makes me worry because I don't have any Leicester players. An interesting game is Burnley versus Swansea. You have Andre Gray, who has scored lots of goals, but you have Sigurdsson now with a new main man in front of him. Not sure if he's going to play, but Llorente has signed for Swansea. So Llorente is a player that can thrive on balls into the box from out wide, so that could also benefit the likes of Routledge, who could get some game time. He has been scoring in pre-season, so I'll be watching that game very interested, very invested in trying to find a good Swansea player. I think Sigurdsson probably will still be the main option from there, but it'd be interesting to see what Llorente can do, and I'm definitely interested to see if Routledge is going to emerge as a fantasy prospect. Everton versus Spurs, that could be a game of some of the big hitters this season. Ronald Koeman could have a very positive effect on the Everton side, whereas Spurs, I believe, haven't changed that much, which means they could start the season as strongly as they did most of last season. Not how they ended last season, but most of last season they were very impressive. Without too many changes coming in to that main starting 11, I feel like they don't have to gel. They have the same manager, majority of the same players, so they could get off to a really good start. But Koeman has made some changes at Everton, and some of the players, Deulofeu and Barkley especially, have looked impressive under Koeman, so that could be a very interesting game. Very interested to see Southampton versus Watford, purely because I want to know who is playing up front for Southampton. It looks like the new manager is playing a diamond formation, and he's tried Shane Long and Nathan Redmond up front, I believe, in the last pre-season game. That is a very quick and potentially very interesting forward lineup for us in the Fantasy Premier League. And then of course we have Manchester City versus Sunderland. Everyone wants to know what the Manchester City starting lineup is going to be. I don't think this one game will answer all of our questions, but as long as Aguero is up top, that will make a lot of people happy, because he is the most popular at the moment captain choice for the first game week. And it's been asked of me in the FPL podcast, are you brave enough to put triple captain on Aguero first game week? And I'm considering it. I know it's a risky move. I know I could waste one of the most important chips that we have very early on, but if it goes right, it would be very impressive. Then on Sunday we have Bournemouth versus Man United. Of course, Man United have just signed Paul Pogba, so that's going to be a very interesting game to see how they line up, and it's going to be interesting to see if Bournemouth have improved. Despite losing some key players, they've also brought in some very good youngsters, and if that can work and gel quickly, youth could be on their side. You never know. They could be able to run for longer and maybe pick up some goals at the end of the game. Big game on Sunday is Arsenal versus Liverpool. Arsenal, as usual, have loads of injury problems. Liverpool have looked good over pre-season. I'm very interested in this game, especially to see how that Liverpool side lines up. I'm looking at Mane and Firmino as the options there, really. I want to see who's playing up front. That's really interesting for me, seeing who plays up front for Liverpool. And then finally on Monday we have Chelsea versus West Ham. And West Ham have gone and signed Andre Ayew, and now it looks like their attack is quite potent. But defensively, they've just signed a new left back as well, which could solve some of their defensive issues. I'll be interested to see what he is like. I think Cresswell's out for a while, so he could be a very good option. The signing, I've forgotten his name off the top of my head. Could also mean Byron plays at right back, but it could mean Antonio as well is played at right back. We'll have to wait and see. And the Chelsea side, I want to see that lineup because Hazard has flirted with an up front position. Costa has managed to end pre-season well, so I really want to see what the starting lineup is going to be like. Oscar has had a good pre-season, so if he can force his way into that starting 11, he comes in at a very good price, so definitely interested in that game. In fact, let's be honest, I'm interested in every game in the first game week, and every FPL manager should be. So, now to the part of the episode where I give you my captain pick of the week, my differential of the week, and where I think the red herrings could lie. Now, my captain of the week, if you're going to be safe, it has to be Aguero. I'm sorry, against Sunderland, this is not the type of game you don't put Aguero as captain. If you know anything about FPL, you know this is the kind of game where Aguero could turn up and have an explosive game. As for my differential of the week, the rules for this is they have to have 10% ownership or less as I'm recording this. And my differential of the week is Alexis Sanchez. Now, if I'd have said that to you at the start of FPL last season, you'd have laughed at me because he would not have been a differential. But he lies in only 6.9% of sides coming into game week 1 as I'm recording this. And for someone like Sanchez, that's ridiculous. I don't have him, lots of people don't have him, no one's really thinking about him, but he's the type of player that is like Aguero, could have an explosive start to the season. It doesn't matter that they're coming up against Liverpool. Sanchez can score against anyone on his day, and only 6.9% of people have him. If you have the balls to spend that much money on Sanchez when no one else is, it could pay off big for you. And sticking with Arsenal, my red herring of the week is Arsenal's defence, purely because they are without Mertesacker, they are without Gabriel, Laurent Koscielny isn't fully fit, which leaves Holding and Callum Chambers. Both are potentially great players in the future, but right now they are not experienced centre-backs, and Liverpool have been scoring goals. Now, lots of people are aware that Arsenal got lots of clean sheets last season, but they had experienced defenders in place at that time. Everyone wants a cheap Arsenal defender because of their clean sheet record over the seasons, but right now isn't the time to pick one. If you had Koscielny fully fit and you knew Rob Holding was playing next to him, maybe Rob Holding would be worth it, but I think he is not fully fit, and with the pace that Liverpool possess in their forward lineup, I think you have to avoid Arsenal's defence. Now I've done probably embarrassing myself with my predictions of the must-have captain of the week, the differential of the week, and the red herring. Leave in the comments if you agree with my decisions. Don't be too harsh, please. I know some of you will be, but please try and be nice about it, because I'm only trying to make predictions that I think not everyone will be making. Anyway guys, that is the first episode ever of FPL Today. I will keep working on the format, especially when I have more time, because I won't be doing 30 days of FPL, but there will always be, if I have the time of course, or nothing comes up, an episode of FPL every week. I will try and make it regularly Tuesday, but every now and again it might change. But thank you as always for tuning in. I've been JNO, you've been awesome. 30 days of FPL, who thought I'd make it? And remember, it's all about the game.